Welcome to this very special edition of the KAJ Masterclass Live, the show which ensures that you profit from your time spent here with experts, either through their industry insights, information, or simply learning from them. And today we have Jaclyn Strominger, a high achiever success coach, and she's dedicated to propelling ambitious individuals to peak performance in both business and life. Welcome to the show, Jaclyn.
Well, thank you so much for having me, AJ. It's a pleasure to be here.
You are welcome to the show, Jaclyn. You are welcome to India in this online form. And I'm sure not just in India, but a lot of people across the globe will benefit from our discussion. We'll be learning from how they can become an unstoppable achiever. They can learn from you. But before that, first, to understand about you, you are a high achiever success coach right now. Tell us a bit about your journey to becoming a high achiever in becoming, and helping people achieve success on a high level.
So my journey actually, my journey starts where a lot of people's journey starts, which is going to college, right? And or you're growing up and you go to college. And I went to an amazing university. And when I was at school, it was a very high pressure school, and you just learn to excel. You're surrounded by this great competition. And so that's kind of where my journey started. And I was always moving forward, always moving forward. And then you get out of college and you get this job and you have a career. And sometime along the way, you're maybe not pushing yourself as much, or maybe you don't have the people around you to move you forward. So once I was in college, I became this big achiever. And then life starts happening and I get on this hamster wheel. And I'm literally driving one day to school, driving my kids to school. And it's raining. And I was like, what am I doing? Like, where's my life going? And I was listening to Katy Perry's Roar. And I said, something's got to change. I've got to regroup. I'm like, where's life going? And I literally came back to the house and I completely went on my vision board and I started drawing things out. Like, what did I want in my life? And why did I stop doing all these things? And I just pushed forward and reinvented. And I realized that, at that moment, I made a huge decision. I was going to move my family, and we ended up moving across the country, and we did it in 8 weeks. I had never lived on the other side of the country. But here we were starting a whole new life. And this is where my energy all came back, and I was like, I can do this. And we did. And I was super successful in my career and my shifting. And then I said, I've got to help other people do this, because so many people have their lives, whether you're in a business or you're doing the day to day, we start just going through the motions. And it's how do we always have this carrot in front of us that we're always pushing forward, because we never want to stop. But so many of us, and I was one of them, we're existing, we're not living, and we're not pushing forward. And there always has to be goals that we're going for. So that was sort of how my journey to achieving came out.
Wonderful, wonderful. So, how does one know? You said by moving to a different place, different part of the country, you got all your energy back, everything else back, and you actually are living the life that you wanted. So, how does one know where their energy lies? Means it can be. How do you know that it's the right sort of a feeling, or is it the not so right sort of a feeling? One can have so many feelings at any point in time. Nothing wrong with that. But
Right.
to put into action, it needs a bit of a planning and understanding of their own self. How does one do that?
Well, there's a couple of different ways. I would say you could obviously get to the breaking point, right? But there's that pit in your stomach, right? There's that feeling that you have when you get up in the morning. It's, are you working towards a plan? Or do you have goals in your mind that you want to be working towards? Or are you just getting up and making a cup of coffee and going through the motions? So it's a mindset and it's a thought process. And you have to decide, like, look at where you are right now and decide and think, is this where I want to be? Am I happy with where I am right now? And if you want something more, and if you're feeling that, like, maybe something could be better, or I've stopped reaching for my goals, then it's the time to start what I say, to take a leap. And that leap starts with leveraging the communication. So LEAP is an acronym for leveraging and leveling up energy, action, and, as I call it, propelling your performance. And it's leveraging the communication that you're saying in your mind, in your head, in your brain. Like, what am I telling myself? So it's spend the time to write out, what do you want? What do you want your mission to be? And what's the communication that you're telling yourself? And if you have a family, you've got to bring them in. If it's for your business, I mean, I work with a lot of business professionals and business owners and CEOs. And one of the biggest things that we find is that a lot of people will set up their mission statement, write it out, and they don't look at it again. But the mission statement actually has to come into fruition every day. We need to look at it. So if we are in a place where we don't have that gumption to go forward, now is the time to take a look at what your mission is. And maybe it's to reinvent that and rewrite that out. That's what I did. I came back and I said, okay, what's my mission? What do I want in my life? Am I living the life that I want, or do I want something else?
Right,
And
right,
I said about moving across the country, and I don't tell her, I'm not going to say to everybody, oh, you've got to go move across the country. That's not necessarily for everybody. But sometimes it's changing your environment. It might be a switch that, you're going, instead of, maybe it's taking a different direction, or you're going and you, if you have an office, it might be moving something around. What can you do in your environment that might just have to be a shift? Doesn't necessarily have to be
right,
moving across the country.
right, right. So this leap towards one's success, is it more about leap of faith, or how can make people make it much more a leap of, much more surety? How can they do that? What's the best way to get started?
The best way to get started, the best way for anybody to get started is to decide what you want. First and foremost, you have to decide, and you have to set the goals. So that's where we're taking that mission statement and we're writing it out. And then what goals and action steps? So we have to set the goals, and then we're setting the action steps. And then in between that too, it's, how are you feeling? This is the energy part of it. Are you excited about it? Like, if you're not feeling that excitement, you've got to take a minute to figure out, where's that excitement going to come? Where are you going to, where is that energy going to come from? And how are you thinking? A lot of it's mindset too. Is it, and it's sometimes it's just getting in the flow of the mindset, saying, yes, I can win, and whatever I do, it's a we win situation. We as a business, we as a family, we as me will be winning, and we're changing that thought process. And then we're putting into those action steps what you want to do. And then what I love to say is that propel and performance. You have to find ways that you can measure what you're doing. What's going to be your measurement of success? And I say MMA. We want to measure it, we want to monitor it, and then we want to adjust, because that's going to keep us moving forward. So taking that leap starts with that mindset and what we want to do and setting out those goals.
Right, right, Jacqueline. So, in terms of an individual, it is still doable. What about a business? A CEO suddenly, or the business owner suddenly thinks about something. As an individual, you can do it, but what about the business? It's very difficult to impact. Take away your business overnight to another place. How does that work?
So in your business, this is I have great clients right now that are businesses that have been in that space and they've been working, and all of a sudden they take a look and like, where are we going? In our business, we have to think about, how are we operating in a business? What is my mission and my core values of my business? Am I vocalizing that to my team? Am I behind? Does that mission statement get me energized? I always say it's the mission to money, because what you have in that mission statement, you need to spend some time reflecting on that and getting everybody in your company behind it. And if and and getting people's buy-in, it's a team. Like, everybody needs to be like, take hold of that and believe in it. So yes, once everybody's on that same page, you'll start to see the rise. Will it happen overnight? Of course not. But once you have that down, and I always say, before you start a meeting, before you walk into the office, it's that mission statement is to be read. It gets people excited, and it has your core values in there too, in that mission statement. And that's going to help you attract the right tribe and get your team excited. And getting people's buy-in is so important as well with that team, and setting each team needs to have their goals. And as a company, what's our mission statement is important, but knowing the individual mission statements, either of your leaders and of the people that are in your company, is so important, because that's going to help you lead them to where they want to go and level everybody up. And I actually shared a post about this the other day. Once we have the mission and the goals of the company, and we're reevaluating that and we're measuring and monitoring, one of the biggest things is your mindset, where your people are working with you or for you. And if it's the for, I would recommend you take a minute and rethink that and come to the mindset and tell yourself, the people that you're working, that are on your team, they're your partners. I don't care what level you are. I don't care if you're the CEO, the SVP. Everybody is a team. And when you can have that mentality, everybody goes up.
Right, right, Jacqueline. So, in terms of you talk about energy leadership. What does energy leadership bring? Into a business, and in terms of achieving high success. Aren't
So
leaders? You mean they need to eat some special food, or take some special vitamins?
I wish it was that easy. But energy leadership actually, so is actually the core energy of actually how you operate. So on a day-to-day basis, so uh, one of the things, so how you operate on a day-to-day basis, meaning um, how you operate every day and how you operate under stress. And as a core energy, we look at, as a core energy coach, one of the things that I look at is there's 7 different levels of energy, where the first 2 are what we call catabolic, where it's bringing down energy. And then 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 are anabolic, and it's the rising up. It's like good energy, but it's how you think of things. Under stress, do you operate from a mode of being a victim, or do you operate from conflict, or are you operating from a mode of I win, or you win, or we win? So energy is, where do you operate and where's your mindset? And what are some of the things that might actually be holding you back? Because maybe you're actually coming from a level of victim, or you could be a person who is operates with high compassion and you don't set up enough boundaries in your business, and you don't necessarily enable people because you end up doing the work yourself. So, as a core energy coach, and what we bring in is I do an amazing assessment where we look at how you operate on a day to day basis with your energy and how do you operate under stress. Where's your level of satisfaction, and what do we need to do to raise it up? And when we do, and when we unpack after and as I call it, we unpack in a debrief, there's a lot of stuff that sometimes will come up that you didn't realize is a block, and so then we work through those. And we always want to think about how can we operate in that more anabolic state, that level 4, 5, and 6, where it's really about we're always winning together. And that energy and how you and where that comes from is really going to have a huge impact on your business, how you interact with people within your team, how you interact with people outside. It is actually Forbes actually ranks it as one of the best assessments if you did an energy leadership index assessment. But bringing
Right.
that level into your business, if you can raise your energy level up, it really has such a dramatic impact on leadership.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, Jacqueline, you are a high achiever success coach. So, you coach people to become high achievers, or you become ask you coach high achievers to become go even higher. How does that work?
So I coach people who are high achievers to go and get a little bit more on that achievement level. We level up. And I coach people who want to be that high achiever to get to be the high achiever, to have the success that they want to have, to get off the hamster wheel so that they're creating the life and the income and living how they want to live. And they're moving their businesses forward. I mean, it's so much fun for me to see the success and see somebody have a breakthrough and have, even if somebody raises their income 1%, what it will do for them. It's like my MasterCard moment, right? It's priceless.
Absolutely. So, how do you see what they can't see in their business or in their life? How what is it that you use some special tools, some telescope, periscope, or any sort of
I have a
thing?
magic 8 ball. No, I'm just kidding. It's really interesting when I start to talk to people, and I will have all of my clients go through the energy leadership assessment. And when I go through that and we start really talking about what their goals are and where they've been and what they want, I can see things in people sometimes that they can't see within themselves. And it's and I can pull things out of people and can make connections with people that that they may not have ever even thought of. So through conversation, through looking at that leap method where we're looking at the communication that they're having and the plans that they want and the actions that they want to take, I see a lot of things in people and get to believe in people where they did not see it in themselves. And a lot of times, and you've probably heard this a lot with a lot of people, really high achievers, super, super successful people, sometimes, a lot of times, even have that imposter syndrome. And so it's amazing when I get to work with my clients and how we can shift that and they really start to see and believe in themselves and get re-energized so that they're taking their life up and their business up levels. And sometimes, I work through a lot of different actions. Like sometimes it might even just be reworking some of their goals, or helping them make decisions using a pain gain model. There's a lot of different things that I work with my clients on. But the biggest thing is also holding them accountable and helping them believe in themselves the way that they maybe never thought about before.
Absolutely. So a lot of people would like to learn more about this, about achievements. And for those people who would want to connect with you and get you to be their coach, what is the best way for them to do so?
To get in touch with me, the
Yes.
best way to get in touch with me is if you go to my website, leaptoyoursuccess.com, click on contact. There's a form, fill it out, and I will be in touch. I actually love having and doing complimentary sessions. So every week I pull people out and I'm going to pick people to do complimentary sessions with. So if you fill out that contact form, you actually get into that line of having a complimentary session.
Wonderful. With this, it's a wrap on this very special edition of the KAJ Masterclass Live. Thank you so much indeed for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me as a guest.